Hello, everybody. This is Boxing Bros UK. I'm here's Chris, and this is my co-host Andrew, the Boxing Brain.
Hi, Chris.
Today we're doing our post-fight review on the York Hall cards that just happened on Saturday. Denzel Bentley versus Derek Osaze. We're just going to quickly run through the card.
Yeah,
and really get stuck into the main fights. But there was a lot of prospects on there, good and bad.
yeah,
Andrew, take it away, brother. Take it away.
yeah. So I won't go through the preliminary card, but just the main.
Okay.
The main card. Yeah, so the main card, really. And there wasn't really a great deal of action other than the Benfell fight. So first up was Willie Hamilton, the future, apparently. But I've got to say, on that performance, I'm not too sure there's too much future. He looked a little bit, I don't know, under the lights, maybe the pressure. He didn't throw nearly enough. I mean, Perry Lowe, he's been around for a long time. He's a journeyman, but didn't throw enough shots. Was just throwing one shot, two shots here and there. Just didn't do enough for me. 160-54. So that was him. Next up was Boom Boom Billy Adams.
I just want to say one thing. I think he judged Perry Lowe on his physique. There were some serious bitches there. I think you might have done his physique a little bit.
Oh, Chris. You're cruel. That is true, though. I was saying to a friend today, though, funny enough, we went for a walk town. I said, but never judge, particularly the heavier divisions. Never judge them based on Andy Ruiz. AJ found that out with Andy Ruiz. So you could never judge, but obviously, perhaps he was kind of looking at him and thinking. But yeah, so next up was Boom Boom Billy Adams, slightly better against Marvin Solano at Super Feather. Slightly better fight, not great. Another unanimous decision, 60-54. This one I actually enjoyed. The next one, Frankie Wood. I thought he looked like a good little fighter, actually. Really nice little slips, good footwork. He was quite slick, actually. Little southpaw. I think he won the ABAs at youth. Come up short in the other ones. Engel Gomez was really game. He wanted to kind of draw him into a bit of a. I think it was in this fight. I think it was Engel Gomez that was trying to draw him into a bit of a dog fight. But no, that was all right. That one. Yeah, so he done well. Gives good angles. Next up, this was a bit of a disappointing one for me, Chris, because I'd kind of tipped him to be half decent. This Joshua Frankham, he's a cousin, I believe, of the Furies. I think this was a case of he's 25 now. He's not been overly active, and his career stagnated a bit. And it kind of looked a bit like that in the fight. It was a bit 10 fights in 4 years he's had since turning. Well, I think he turned pro about 4 years ago. Chris, Steve Bunce was talking about it in between the fight. 10 fights in 4 years since turning pro. I mean, normally that's when you're at your most active, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, you normally look at Moses Atuma. He's fighting every few months.
Yeah, so don't really know what's going on there. Not sure what's going on, but he's got a bit of talent, so needs to start cracking on, Frankham. Next one was a bit of a fucking tear up. This was just all out war. Ben Fowl versus Omir Rodriguez. He put him down in the second round. He had a standing 8 count in the second round, Omir Rodriguez. And I think he probably thought he was going to get him out there. And he just was trading with him. And Ben Fell likes to start quick. He wants to get... But he could have made that fight a lot easier for himself. I don't know what you think, Chris.
He had the skills. He had the skills to make it easy. But that to be fair to that guy, can't really speak English, came to a different country. He was fucking game. He was game. Oh. If he could hit, it could have been a different story if he had a bit more power.
Yeah,
Because he caught him. He caught him quite a few times, bust him up.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, Big Ben Fail, who were posturing around the press conference, weren't they? The two brothers in their get up, in their nice get up, the Fail twins. I think the other brother's a talented guy as well. But yeah, I mean, he was quite marked up, Ben Fail, and you just kind of thought, as he kind of goes through the levels, that's going to be. I'm sure he'll make some adjustments, I would imagine. But that was quite an entertaining one. But he got through that one, and then I think that was all of them. And then that leads us up to, Chris, from what I gather, in case I've missed any, that leads us up to Alois Jr. and Berardi, which was quite an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well.
After, yeah, go on, Chris.
Like after we met him, we interviewed him. He's a good. I liked Alois, yeah. But after all that shit talking, you got to back it up, and he didn't really back it up for me, to be honest. Like he was talking about his power, and they just touch people and they fall over. And this guy, Berardi, was really, really good, light on his feet. And it's like, when he was hitting him, it wasn't going to knock him out. The guy had a good chin, good movement. He was quite defensively astute, and he didn't really have a plan B for a while. Little head movement. His feet were slow. I just thought, and he wasn't doing combinations. So when he got in close, he'd dig to the body with like one hard shot, and then he'll try and come maybe one or two, instead of doing punches in bunches. Because that one hard shot, where he was crippling other people, weren't crippling this guy. So he needed to up the tempo, let his hands go a bit, throw some combinations, and he just wasn't doing it. And he needed a bit more head movement. It was just trying to like walk him down and blow him out, and it weren't working. And it really, until the later stage of the fight, that's when he started to let his hands go, throw a few combinations, move his head a little bit more. But he showed a good gas tank, and he showed resilience, and he eventually adapted. So it's not the end of the world. Yeah. But what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of concur to a large degree. There, it was, I loved the interview with him. I mean, he kind of was the highlight of the press conference for me. I mean, he clearly likes the limelight. There's obviously a lot of pressure on him, and he.
Oh, you froze. Yeah.
I froze a bit. Yeah, I'm back again.
You're back.
And fair play to him. I think, but I'm not going to be biased because, I did really like him, loved his personality, but I'm going to be as objective as possible. And I did notice because I was watching Berardi and in a few of his fights, and I thought, he's got that almost that kind of amateur style. He's got a good left, leads that kind of left hand low, and he likes to be sort of light on his feet and moving around. And I think he gave Alois a really kind of tough fight. And there was moments he got him in the corner and on the ropes, and Alois was sort of just touching him a little bit, just touching him, then started throwing a few different combinations a little bit, mixing up the power. But maybe needed to do that a bit more. Quite sort of flat-footed, wasn't he? A little bit flat-footed, Alois.
Yeah.
There was a few early on, because I noticed Richie Woodall, I think after the first 5 rounds, gave Berardi only 1 round, which I thought was strange, because
always do that.
Berardi was lighting him up with some uppercuts here and there and catching him and was doing some good work. And Alois took over in the second half of the fight and deserved the win, absolutely. But I'm not sure where Richie Woodall was getting those early rounds from Alois. I didn't get that.
I think it's the same. Like, with commentators, like it's always the same. Like they're always a bit biased to one fighter. Like you'll always find that. Look at Crawford versus Madrimov. Like every time Madrimov did something, they were fucking oh my god. Because obviously the zone is Madrimov is with the zone, and he heard Crawford he's just with Al Sheikh, and he fights wherever. So that he was the home fighter, so they were rooting. It's just commentators, man. That's why sometimes I watch fights without commentary. They do skew it, skew your view sometimes. But yeah, because Berardi I gave him a couple of the early rounds for sure, because he was landing the uppercut. He was like being evasive, light on his feet, and one thing I will say about Alois is he's a bit unsteady on his feet sometimes. Like, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a bit gas. Like, did you see it? He kept leaning back on his heels sometimes. And like, I can see him getting knocked down just through bad balance. You know, like how Dylan White is a bit unsteady on his feet sometimes. A bit flat-footed.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And he rolls back on his heels like when it's not necessary, because you've got to stay heel to toe.
Yeah.
Feet, you know. You there? Well, I think we've grasped technical difficulties. 1 second. Hello. So yeah, so that's it for the Alois fight, really. Half decent performance. We'll call that a learning fight, and hopefully see more head movement, more combinations, and he's learned you can't knock everybody out.
Yeah, and I think we got to stop as well. Like, and I agree with the commentators. I think Richie Woodall said this, is that we've got to stop all this sometimes. Oh, he's not, because he knocked out, I think, 7 of his opponents before, and he's got the best power since him. And it's like, that's not put too much pressure on the kid, you know. And, you know, he talks a good game. He promotes himself well. I know he promised a KO, but the second half of the fight, he did seem to be listening to Ben Davidson. He did kind of grind out the win, which sometimes you have to do. The other guy was a decent operator. He got the Continental belts from the WBO, and fair play to him. He was overjoyed. You know, well done. You know, hopefully speak to him again soon.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. And then, so the next one, Denzel Bentley versus Derek Osaze.
I had a couple of quid on you, Derek. I had a couple of quid, but
so did I. But
shall I start? Shall I start, Chris?
Yeah, go ahead.
Not really a great deal to say, is there? I actually thought Derek started all right. I thought he was moving well, got behind his jab, was boxing quite nicely. You know, he was putting pressure on a little bit with Denzel. He had Denzel on the ropes a couple of times. You could tell Denzel was sort of working him out. And basically, I guess he kind of lived up to his name. Too sharp, didn't he? He was just that little bit of a level above, more spite in the punches. And he just kind of walked onto that uppercut, timed him on. And you won't see too many better punches than that, people. That's all I'm going to say. You won't see too many better than that. That was absolutely class shot. Brilliant shot.
He couldn't have timed it any better. And you know what, as well? He was setting it up. Because obviously, I gave Derek the first 2 rounds. But Denzel was setting traps. It shows his experience. He was trying for that uppercut, seeing if he can get it through the guard, but he didn't put all the power in it. See, getting used to my stand. I keep cutting my head out. But he wasn't getting all the power in it at first. See, that's the thing in boxing, yeah. Like, you've got to set traps. Like, you land a shot, but you throw it 50%. And then when it's open and it's there, you throw it 100%, like boom, because they think they can take it. These are little tricks and things that they do in boxing. But yeah, he timed that perfect. And then obviously Derek was out on his feet. And he went, bang! Hit him with a couple of hooks. Out. And you know it's bad when someone lands on their face. It's a bad knockout when someone lands on their face.
He was out.
You know.
But, you know, Denzel Bentley showed some ruthlessness there. You know, there was a few people of our good friends over at Last Bell, Mr. Carl. He was saying, you know, is Denzel Bentley motivated for this? And you certainly could have made those arguments, that's for sure. But he did what he needed to do. And then when he did have him hurt after that uppercut, he finished the job, didn't he? You know, mercilessly.
100%.
So,
100%. So,
you know,
what's next for Bentley?
well, I mean, where everybody all around, I guess everybody all around YouTube is going to be talking about the Panzer Shiraz, you know, kind of all British affair. He could go in a number of different directions. He's obviously got the Heaney rematch. I believe from a few of the interviews I've seen, he quite likes the idea of avenging that. You know, who else have you got in and around that level? Sort of Brad Pauls. Would he go there? Tyler Denny.
No, it's mandatory for I think it's WBO or something. I think Janabek or something. It's mandatory for one of the other middleweight belts.
Well, there you go. So he's just gonna go straight there on that. I mean, because he's fought Dignam, he's fought Osaze. You know, he's been quite active, and he was talking about this after the fight. I think he wants to go out again. He's like, look, I'm ready to go again. He said, I want to stay busy. I want to stay active. He said part of the problem was and I thought this was quite interesting after the fight, that he hadn't been busy enough, and then he was losing his focus and his motivation. So I think he wants to get. So he might want to get another couple. He might want to get another couple in before going back to that level. You know.
Yeah, for me, he needs to take that Heaney rematch. He needs to. For me, he's got to right that wrong, because Heaney's not on his level. He's not on his level. That was just a bad day at the office. Yeah. It's like, and in boxing, I'm all for that. Like avenge your losses, right your wrongs, or at least try to. You know. So I know obviously there was no rematch clause, so Heaney had no obligation to fight him again, and he thought he'll take on Brad Pauls, and it might be easier than Bentley. But I think, and obviously, where does Heaney go from here? He'll make some decent money, and he might do it again, and he'll get him right back in the mix. So that's a good fight for him. It's definitely a must fight, and it's a nice little tune-up fight before Denzel Bentley goes back to world level. You know. So, yeah,
that's probably a good shout there, isn't it? To be fair, where's Derek Osaze's career at? I mean, this was part of what I was worried about. I enjoyed the interview we did with Derek. You know, really humble guy, the punching preacher, the pastor. He's a pastor from what I gather. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he is. I think that's where, you know, family man, humble guy. Hasn't been nearly active enough. He'll admit that himself. Last few years of I think he's fought once a year the last few years. Then you're going in against a world level operator.
Yeah.
In Denzel Bentley. It's kind of he jumped too many levels, didn't he, mate? Perhaps.
For sure. I don't think, like, obviously I know he felt ready, and he did win the first 2 rounds. For me, he was doing well. But I think he can come again. He just needs to stay active, fight better opposition than he was fighting before this fight, steadily move up, and then, you know, then he could go in there against a Brad Pauls after a few confidence builders, you know? He really could.
Right.
Like,
Felix
at British level. Yeah, he could fight Felix Cash.
All Felix Cash. I mean, he took Tyler Denny the distance. Yeah, I think all those kind of guys in and around that level. But I think he needs. Yeah. He obviously we did discuss that with him, but he's going to go away now, recover and whatever, and you know, God willing, he's healthy, because that was a bad knockout. He seemed to be okay after and made a full recovery, but I'd imagine quite a bad concussion there. So go away, rest up, recover, talk to his manager, and go from there.
I do. I think, and to be fair to him, it was a bad knockout, and he tried to get up, but the ref waved it off, and rightly so. Rightly so. He did try and get up. Like, I think he might have just beat the count, but it was like, you land on your face, it's bad news. And obviously,
his eyes, you could tell, like, he was wobbling, his eyes were gone.
That was a hell of a shot. Yeah, man. So, yeah, and that's basically it. Onwards and upwards.
The one thing I would say, without sounding too negative, wasn't the best night of action until the last two fights, was it, Chris? It didn't.
No.
It didn't kind of catch. It didn't catch fire like maybe we thought it could have done. The event. It didn't quite have it, did it? Altogether.
But them cards sometimes are like that because the talents, because they're all up and comers, aren't they? And they're all like 4-rounders, 6-rounders, and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And you need events like that to showcase the new talent. I get that. Yeah. So not a criticism, but no, exactly. Yeah. But but great experience for us the Thursday and Friday. Lovely to meet all the fighters, and then watching them on Fight Night, because we unfortunately couldn't get there, so we were watching at home. But watching them after we'd spoke to them just added that extra bit of intrigue for us, Chris, didn't it?
Sure.
You know.
Oh yeah. We really enjoyed it. Check out our first fight interviews on the channel as well. If you don't mind, give some likes and some subscribes there. We filmed the way in the press conference. No, it's all over now. And Boxing Bros UK out. Oh, he froze again. Well, that's Boxing Bros UK out, guys.